Sai Ram students, welcome to the third session of chapter 2, that is plants, structure and function. Now before moving to the next part of this lesson, let us revise what we had learnt in the earlier session. In the earlier session, we had seen the part of the plant that is leaf. Now leaf, it is generally flat, thin and green in color. From where does this leaf come? This leaf, it comes from the nodes of the stem. Then we saw about the different parts of the leaf. What are the different parts of the leaf? The leaf blade or lamina, leaf margin, leaf apex, stipule, petiole and the leaf base. Right children? So then we saw about each and every part, that what is a leaf blade? The broad spread out part of the leaf is called as the leaf blade or lamina. The edge of the leaf is called as the leaf margin. The tip of the leaf is called as the leaf apex. Plants that may have a stalk, that is called as a petiole. Leaf-like structures present near the leaf base are called as the stipules, and the portion of the stem attached to the leaf is called as the leaf base. Then we saw about the two main types of leaves. First was simple leaf and the other one was compound leaf. So what is a simple leaf? Single undivided and blade with a single midrib. Such type of leaves are called as simple leaf. Then we saw about the compound leaf. The leaf blade, it is divided into small leaf-like parts called as the leaflets. Such type of leaves are called as the compound leaf. Then we saw about the arrangement of the leaves on the stem. So how is the arrangement? Alternate, decussate, fold and then opposite. After that we saw that according to the shape how the leaves look like. They are rounded, obovate, palmate, lanceolate and linear. Then we saw about the two types of leaf, that is the peepal leaf and the maize leaf. So the peepal leaf, it is divided into equal parts by a single midvein which lies along the midvein of the leaf blade. Now secondary veins, they arise from this midvein. They are branched and they form a network or a reticulum, and that is the reason the peepal leaf, it has got reticulate venation. Then we saw about the maize leaf. All the veins are parallel, running from the leaf base to the leaf apex, and that is why the maize leaf, it has got parallel venation. So this is what we had seen. Dicotyledonous plants have reticulate venation and the monocotyledonous plants, they have parallel venation. Right students? So let's move to the next part of the lesson, that is the flower. So here you can see children, I have taken the image of the vertical section of the hibiscus flower. So the flower, it is divided into four main parts. So one is the calyx, second is corolla, third is the androecium. Androecium, it consists of anther and filament. And the last part is the gynoecium, which is the contains stigma, style and the ovary. So these are the main parts of the flower. So you can see over here, these are the petals. This is the pedicel. So one end of the pedicel, it is attached to the stem, and the other end you can see over here, it is expanded and swollen. So this other end is called as the receptacle. So you can see the stigma over here and the anthers over here. So right children, so let's move to the actual part. So flowers, they may have a long or a short stalk called as the pedicel. One end of the pedicel is attached to the stem and the other end of the pedicel, it is expanded and swollen and it is called as the receptacle. Petals and other parts of the flower are supported on the receptacle. So, the question may be asked, what is pedicel? So you can write flowers. They may have a long or a short stalk called as the pedicel. Now if they ask you what does the pedicel consist of? So you can say one end of the pedicel is attached to the stem and the other end of the pedicel it is expanded and swollen and it is called as the receptacle. So the petals and the other parts of the flower are supported on the receptacle. Let's move to the next part. This I have already told you the parts of the flower: calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. So what are the parts of the flower? Calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. So let us see each and every part of the flower in detail. So first we'll see what is about the calyx. In the bud condition, the petals are covered by leaf-like parts called as the sepals. These sepals, these are green in color and they form the calyx. And corolla, it is made up of colorful parts called as the petals. So what is the calyx? In the bud condition, the petals, they are covered by leaf-like parts called sepals. These sepals, they are green in color and they form the calyx. So what is corolla? Corolla, it is made up of colorful parts called as the petals. So students, you can do one thing. You have to observe the shape, the color and the smell of the corolla of various flowers like rose, mogra and hibiscus. So children, will you do this observation? Let's move to the next part, that is the androecium. Now androecium, it is the male reproductive part of the flower and it consists of stamens. So each stamen, it is made up of anther and filament. So what is the male reproductive part of the flower? Then you can answer it as androecium. And what does androecium consist of? It consists of stamens. What is the stamen made up of? The stamen is made up of anther and filament. Or else they can ask you the question, explain androecium. Then you will write, it is the male reproductive part of the flower. It consists of stamens and each stamen is made up of anther and filament. Let's move to the next part of the flower, that is gynoecium. Now gynoecium, it is the female reproductive part of the flower and it is made up of carpels. The carpel, it consists of stigma, style and ovary. So again students, like this questions can be asked, what is the female reproductive part of the flower? Then you can answer as gynoecium is the female reproductive part of the flower. What is it made up of? What is the gynoecium made up of? It is made up of carpels. What does the carpel consist of? The carpel consists of sigma, style and ovary. Or else they can ask you, explain the part of the flower, gynoecium. That time you will write, it is the female reproductive part of the flower. It is made up of carpels and the carpels consist of sigma, style and ovary. So what happens in the gynoecium? After maturity, anthers burst and the pollen grains which are released fall on the stigma. So this process is called as the pollination. So the question may be asked, what is pollination? So you will write, after maturity, anthers burst and the pollen grains which are released, it falls on the stigma. So this process is called as pollination. Due to pollination, ovules, that is the egg cells in the ovary, it gets fertilized. fertilized ovules form the seeds and the ovary develops into a fruit. So what happens due to pollination? The ovules in the ovary, they get fertilized. So the fertilized ovule, they form the seeds, and the ovary, it develops into a fruit. Right, students? So what are you going to do? Now you are going to take a vertical section of a hibiscus flower. You are going to take a hibiscus flower and you are going to cut it vertically with a sharp blade, and then you are going to observe all these parts of the flower which I have told you. So let's move to the next part, that is the fruit. Now I hope children, you all like to eat fruits, isn't it? So we all are fond of eating fruits. So fruits, they are of different varieties, different shape, different size and different taste also. So we eat a lot of variety of fruits, isn't it children? So each type of fruit, it has got its own characteristic. So there are variations in the shape, the color, the taste, etc. Each fruit has got a different shape. Each fruit has got different color, isn't it? And the taste of the fruit is also different. If you eat mango, it will have a different taste. And if you eat chiku, you will have a different taste. Isn't it, children? So you have seen that mango, when you eat, after eating the mango fruit, you can see that it contains only one seed. Whereas if you take the jackfruit and when you cut this jackfruit, you will see many small fruitlets are there inside, right? And so each fruitlet, it will be containing many seeds. So mango, it contains only one seed, whereas jackfruit, custard apple, it will contain many seeds. So each fruit has got different skin or shell, fleshy part and the seed. So if you take apple, if you take chiku, so these have got different shell, that is the outer part, that is the different skin, right? Chiku is brown in color, apple is red in color or green in color. So the fleshy part which is inside the fruit, that is also different, and the seeds of these fruits are also different. But if you see the fruit cashew, in that the seed is outside the fruit, isn't it? Whereas in the other fruits, the seed is inside the fruit. In cashew, you will see the seed outside the fruit. So seeds, they are of two types. First is dicotyledonous seeds and the other is monocotyledonous seeds. Now children, if you take pea, groundnut, and if you soak it in water for 3 to 4 hours, and after 3 to 4 hours, when you take out this fruit, press these with the help of your finger. So when you press it, what will happen? It will break into two equal parts. So what is about the dicotyledonous seeds? That the seeds which get divided into two equal parts are called as dicotyledonous seeds. And if the seed, it cannot be divided into two equal parts, then it is called as the monocotyledonous seeds. So there are two types of seeds, that is dicotyledonous seeds and monocotyledonous seeds. If the seed, it can be divided into two equal parts, then they are called as dicotyledonous seeds. If the seeds, it cannot be divided into two equal parts, then they are called as monocotyledonous seeds. So students, with this your chapter 2 gets over. So let's recap children what we have learned today. We saw the part of the plant, that is the flower. So flower, it is made up of different parts, that is the calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. So flowers, they may have a long or a short stalk called as the pedicel. So one end of the pedicel, it is attached to the stem, and the other end of the pedicel, it is expanded or swollen, and that is called as the receptacle. The parts of the flower and the petals, they are supported on the receptacle. Then we saw each and every part of the flower in detail. So first we saw about the calyx. In the bud condition, the petals, they are covered by leaf-like parts called sepals, which are green in color. So they form the calyx. Then we saw about corolla. This is made up of colorful parts called as the petals. Then we saw about androecium. It is the male reproductive part of the flower and it consists of stamens. So each stamen, it is made up of anther and filament. Then we saw about gynoecium. Gynoecium, it is the female reproductive part of the flower and it is made up of carpels. A carpel consists of stigma, style and ovary. Then we saw about the pollination. After maturity, anthers burst and the pollen grains which are released fall on the stigma. So this process is called as pollination. So due to pollination, the ovules in the ovary gets fertilized. The fertilized ovules, they form the seed and the ovary, it develops into a fruit. Then we saw about the fruit. So fruits, they are of different varieties, shape, size, etc. Right? Then we saw the two types of seeds in the fruit, that is the dicotyledonous and the monocotyledonous. So the seeds which can be divided into two equal parts are called as dicotyledonous seeds, and the seeds which cannot be divided into two equal parts, they are called as monocotyledonous seeds. So students, an assignment is given. I request you all to do the assignment. Till then, let's meet you in the next session. Till then, goodbye.